Hey everyone, it's Kaiga voiceover here, and this is going to be the next episode of What If Issei Was Betrayed and It Broke Him. Um, as always, we're going to be linking the original fanfic writer down in the description, because I don't want to get slapped with the MCA copyright bullshit. Um, but I hope you guys will enjoy this next episode, and if you do, you can maybe subscribe and a like, just to let me know that you are enjoying the content I'm putting out. And if you at some point don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. It is completely free, and it's just helpful to me. It knows that someone likes my content. But this is Betrayed to Hell and Back, Chapter 3, The Journey to the Will of Souls, Part 2. If Issei were to tell you that he was unstable, he would be telling you the truth, but that would be understating it by a whole lot. He was fucking livid. He didn't want to think about anything and just blow some shit up. He really wanted to vent his frustration, but he calmed himself down in order to prevent a disaster, and turned to the three fallen angels coming with him. Do you have anywhere to stay? I need a rest and figure out a game plan, asked Issei tiredly. The three fallen angels looked at each other for a bit, until Raynare spoke up. I have an apartment we can use. Not that big, but it will fit all of us, responded Rayner. Issei sighed to himself as he looked up to the sky, muttering a few words that were unheard by the rest of the group. He contemplated just leaving them there and heading straight for the well, but decided against it as he would need all the allies he could gather for what he had planned. It will work for now, spoke Issei tiredly. Soon he was following the three fallen angels on the sidewalk as they arrived at a three-story apartment complex. Broken windows and clearly run down, but it worked for now. Before he knew it, they were all sitting around a table and looking at him expectantly. They definitely had a lot of questions that he needed to answer. Okay, so I know you may have a lot of questions for me, so just ask away, spoke Issei. What happened to you? I thought you were close to the devils. How did you die and why didn't they save you? Asked Raynare. Well, let's put it this way. I was only useful to them for a little bit, and then that was to get that bitch of a devil heiress out of her forced marriage. Then, about the time of the peace conference, let's just say they decided it was time to get rid of me. Like I was yesterday's trash. Long story short, I ripped into each and every one of them about their own problems. Then I purged all of my evil pieces, explained Issei. Then how do you still have Dreg? If you died, shouldn't you have he been passed on to his next host? Asked Kalawarner, confused. Well, yes, normally, but I guess Bahamut brought me to a purgatory state to give me a choice. Keep Drag and gain a second gear to help go back to the land of the living at a court, of course, at a cost, or just stay dead, spoke Issei. Everyone's eyes widened at his story. That's why he was the way he was. He was abandoned by everyone that he thought were his friends and family. Now he didn't know who he could trust, if they would just betray him like his old friends and family. Raynare was truly saddened, and she made up her mind to help him. What cost did you have to pay? Asked Dohnaseek, confused. Bahamut had two conditions, but now that I think about it, one was just for fun, since he knew I would get back at them. He wants me to give the three factions a really huge reality check. And boy will I. The other goal was to rebuild the dragon faction, spoke Issei. Everyone is astonished at his goals. To rebuild a whole dragon faction was nearly impossible, since normally someone can be turned into dragons, like the devils or the fallen angels. Hell, even the angels had a reincarnation system. But the dragons didn't, and they were slowly dying out. How are you going to rebuild the dragon faction? Asked Raynare. Bahamut said he gave me the power to turn people into dragons. So I guess when the time comes, I'll figure it out, responded Issei. What are you going to do about the 3 factions? Asked Kalawarner. I have a bone to pick with the devils and Azazel, so it won't be an easy punishment at all. As for heaven, a simple meeting may suffice. If not, I may resort to some more drastic measures, spoke Issei. Man, I hate to be the unlucky people who are gonna feel your wrath. Even Azazel is gonna be scared shitless when he sees you again, muttered Dohnaseek. You have no idea how pissed I am. Sir is the first person on my list. I'm going to use him as an example. Issei spoke while chuckling. Then he looked at the clock to see what time it was, and it was late, and he was extremely tired. Is there somewhere I can rest? I need to think to myself for what the future holds, asked Issei. There's a room upstairs, first door to your left. You can use it, responded Raynare. Soon he was heading upstairs, leaving the 3 downstairs to talk to themselves about his story and their future. They all felt truly sorrowful and a bit of rage of what happened. They needed to get on his good side, since his enemies wouldn't be given any pity at all. Raynare saw this chance as a way to try to rebuild the bridge between them, so she went upstairs to talk to him privately. She found herself standing behind the door, hesitating to knock on it. She hoped she could actually get somewhere with him. Issei, may I come in? I want to talk, spoke Raynare outside of the door. She heard a reply telling her to come in, so she opened the door and stepped inside. She was met with an unexpected result, a shirtless Issei. Jesus, was he this packed? Thought Raynare, with a monumental blush creeping on her face. What do you want to talk about? Asked Issei. Listen, Issei, I know we may not be on the best of terms, but I would really love to actually be with you. I'm not asking you to accept me right away. Just give me a second chance. Please, that is all I ask. Raynare pleaded as she hoped for a good sign. Deep down, Issei knew there was still a spot she had in his heart. But it was the matter of if the past would continue to haunt him or not. He didn't know if he could trust anyone yet, since he was just gotten abandoned by the ones he thought loved him. She heard him sigh to himself, most likely thinking about it. That's when he closed his eyes. It seemed like time just stopped as she waited for an answer. She was holding her breath, and it seemed like it went on for eternity. When he opened them again, they weren't filled with rage, just calmness. They were actually softened. She saw a smile come across his face for a brief second. Fine, I'll give you a chance, responded Issei after a while of thinking. She was astonished at how quickly he decided. The only thing she could do was let the tears fall and rush to him and hug him after all that it was worth. Okay, calm down. I need to sleep for tomorrow. Oh, crap, I skipped. He was shocked at the bone-crushing hug she enveloped him in. He definitely wasn't expecting this reaction from her. Okay, calm down. I need sleep for tomorrow. We have a lot ahead of us, spoke Issei. What are we doing? Asked Raynare, confused. Training. Breaking into the wells of souls won't be easy. We need to get stronger as a team and come up with a good plan, spoke Issei. Okay then, responded Raynare before dragging him onto the bed and using him as a hugging pillow. Ugh. Nah, no point in arguing with her now. I'm clearly not winning it. Just gonna sleep, thought Issei. What did you expect? You said yourself you would give her a second chance. The girl's emotions were clearly bottled up at the moment she first saw you, the bar. Now that you have calmed her fears, she can't hold herself back, spoke Dreg. I just have this nagging feeling that this is only the start. More girls will start to flock to me with this power. Fights will surely break out, responded Issei. So what? Your partner, you've always had the girls fighting for you. It's nothing new. Just new ones replacing the bastard old ones, spoke Dreg. Guess you're right. No use getting worked up about it now. What's done is done, thought Issei. Exactly. You need to focus on whipping them into shape. Their current strength won't do any good to them in a fight against one of Hades' minions, responded Dreg. About that. Dreg and Bahamut, any ideas what I can expect there? Asked Issei. You can obviously expect a small force of somewhat guarding the outside, while a few squads inside. Maybe a few a few scouts outside as an early warning system, responded Bahamut. Okay, then a nighttime approach, to be shrouded in darkness, then pick 'em off one by one, outside, by separating them, then go for the ones on the inside, thought Issei as he started to piece his plan together. Soon, the warm embrace of the girl sleeping next to him pulled him into a deep sleep. Morning. When he awoke up from his sleep, he shouldn't have been surprised at what he saw. After all, he did remember last night's events. But it was little more than expected. Both Kalawarner and Raynare each had one of his arms clenched between their breasts, and their grip was like steel. He was barely able to move at all without waking them both up. Partner, two new bussy girls have been added to your harem. It won't be long before more come to you, chuckled Dreg. Amusing to say, at least, but you must focus. They need to be ready for when you go to the well, spoke Bahamut, amused. Issei groaned as he finally managed to free himself from the girl's grasps and made his way downstairs. It was still pretty early, As he noticed, he looked at the clock, expecting others not to be up yet. But as he arrived downstairs, he saw Dohnaseek sitting in the living room, watching the underworld news. So he did the natural thing to do and sat down, rubbing his eyes, trying to get the leftover sleepiness gone. Sup, boss? What's the plan? Asked Dohnaseek. First off, just call me Issei, or Issei. Or Issei, yeah, I don't know. Never was the one for any sort of honorifics. As for today, well, I'm gonna wait till everyone is present to explain the situation and ask some questions of my own, responded Issei. Anything I can answer for you? Asked Dohnaseek. Okay, out of you guys, what are your power rankings and who's best at what? Asked Issei. Well, I'm the brawn of the group, you could say. While Kalawarner is the brains with magic. She's always been the smartest, even if she doesn't look like it. Rayner is the deceptive one. To go behind you with finesse, as you already know, responded Dohnaseek with a slight smile. Issei just huffed at the statement. Okay then, for the first few days we're going to do some training to build a good strategy. For getting through the wolf's defenses won't be easy. You guys need to be stronger if you're going to make it, spoke Issei. Very well, I can take that easily, responded Dohnaseek with a grin. Also, wasn't there a fourth member of your group? I forgot her name, though, Issei asked, confusedly. Oh, Mittelt. Let's just say Kalawarner and Rayner had a falling out with her. She decided to go her own way. Haven't seen or heard from her in quite a while, though, Dohnaseek replied. Great. Now just to wait for the others, spoke Issei. What about us? Asked Rayner as she came down with Kalawarner. To explain the situation, spoke Issei. What is the situation? Asked Kalawarner. The well is heavily guarded, as we thought, based on what me and my dragons discussed last night. We will have quite the resistance when we go for the strike. So the next few days, we will going to train as a team so you won't get killed the moment we get spotted, explained Issei. Where will we train? Asked Dohnaseek, confused. When I first came here, I saw a good area that was deserted near a mountain. We will be undisturbed there. I'm going to push each and every one of you to the break, so you can break through your limits. Prepare to be put through the ringer, spoke Issei. Bring it, challenged Dohnaseek with a grin. Fine by me, said Kalawarner. Let's go, Rayner screeched happily. Scene break. Mountains. Soon the four of them found themselves standing in the mountains far, far away from anyone who would disturb them. Okay, first things first. I'm going to test every one of you to see where you are. You first. You're up first, Dohnaseek, spoke Issei. Okay, what do you want me to do? Dohnaseek asked, not knowing what to do. Before anyone could guess what Issei was thinking, they all heard the boosted gear call out with a command that both intrigued them and confused them. Blade! Shouted the dragon booster as the familiar red light brightened up the whole area. When it died down, they were surprised and a little frightened by they saw a holy sword. Is that? Is that? Kalawarner asked breathlessly. Ascalon, the dragon-saying sword. I got it from Michael, the Archangel, just before the peace conference, and merged it with the boosted gear, explained Issei while slashing the ground a few times for warming him up. Okay, Dohnaseek, what I want you to do is throw a light spear at me. If I can slice through it with a sword, then it needs work, spoke Issei. It would be my pleasure, responded Dohnaseek with a grin. Before anyone else could see what was going on, Issei switched into his stance. He waited for the spear to come. In a second, Dohnaseek threw his light spear as hard as he could towards Issei. Rayner and Kalawarner thought he threw it a little too hard, but as they watched Issei, they noticed he was calm and collected. As soon as he caught the sight of the spear coming towards him, Issei dashed forward and did a downward slash, effectively slicing it into two halves. Everyone stared at the two halves of the spear as it started to dissolve. See, that spear wasn't very well made. You need to put more into it. Magic itself has its limits and stipulations, but there's always been a way to get around those without major consequences. Think of it this way. Devil magic is unstable, while holy magic is stable. Devil magic is naturally unstable, since most of them are destructive and powerful, while holy magic is more supportive. But don't get me wrong, holy magic, it can be extremely powerful if you know how to use it properly, explained Issei. Now, I'm not an expert on magic, so I don't like that. So don't think like that. I can't use the advanced techniques, but I know basic stuff. And I know how magic fundamentally works. There are a multitude of ways to increase your magical potential. One way is to create your reserve. The stronger your body, the more it can handle before your body breaks down. With holy magic, you're pretty much using your own imagination to create a spear. The more stable it is, the stronger, explained Issei. Kalawarner, since you're the magic person of the group, making a light sword should be easy for you, right? Issei asked Kalawarner. She looked at him for a moment while contemplating the idea. Okay then, I guess I can try, Kalawarner replied with a shrug. Lost my place. She then closed her eyes and began to focus as the others watched her in anticipation. Soon a bright light started to form from her hands. It started to grow in size. Soon after, the light died down. She held a small light sword in her hands. Very good. With more practice, you can get used to it and make a better one. A sword will come handy if you're Titans in a tight situation and can't throw a spear, spoke Issei. Okay, then. I will practice with my sword, replied Kalawarner. Raynare, you're the deceptive type, the one to go behind someone's back with finesse and deal a finishing blow, explained Issei. As soon as the three heard that, both Kalawarner and Dohnaseek smirked while Raynare looked down. Don't worry, I won't hold it against you, but I will push you a little harder as payback, spoke Issei with a grin. So what do you want me to do? Asked Raynare, confused. For you to be a good fighter with your skill set, you need quick reflexes and good speed. You need to be able to make a split-second decision and act on them just as fast as you made the decision. For now, you're gonna come at me and try to punch me, land 5 successful strikes, and we'll take it up a notch. I won't be going easy, though, explained Issei. Greg, 5 boosts, put them in my reflex, Issei said in his head. Right on, responded Greg. Everyone was waiting for Raynare to make an attack. As I saw Issei getting their stance, they prepared for a good spar. That's when they heard the dragon booster. Boost times 5! Everyone's eyes widened as they heard the boosted gear call out. They now knew he was taking this very seriously, so they had to be on their guard and take it seriously as well. Before anyone knew it, Raynare had unfurled her rings and dashed towards Issei with quick speed, but Issei could see her movements clearly. She threw a right hook trying to connect with his jaw. He quickly tilted his head back, making her miss by mere centimeters. He gave a grin, knowing this would be fun as she continued her assault on him. She even then tried to sweep him out from under his feet, but he saw through that too as he jumped in the air. Raynare narrowed her eyes, and she lunged at him. Another time, and actually managed to land an uppercut on his jaw. All of them eyes widened as they saw him fly back into the air from the blow she delivered him. Issei, are you alright? Raynare screeched as she realized she might have put a little too much force into the punch. Yeah, I'm fine. That was a good punch, Raynare. Someone without my strength definitely would have been knocked out very easily, Issei said after getting up from the ground. I will say this, you're doing better than I expected. You're already using your speed to your advantage. But try to mix up your strikes a little bit more often, or the enemy will be able to predict what you do, Issei commented as he got into his stance again. He made the motion for her to come at him, and she did. He had to admit to himself that they exceeded most of his first expectations. He knew that in a couple of days they would be ready, and they would tear through that well like a hurricane. That was the end of Chapter 3, The Journey to the Well of Souls, Part 2. Chapter 4, The Well of Souls. Reading the very special author notes. As Issei looked back on the few days that he and his new group spent training, he had to admit he was impressed. They had come quite the lengths in a short amount of time that they used. Dohnaseek was able to make multiple spears at once, and they were very strong as well. Not to mention he was far more powerful than before. Kalawarner had built up quite the magical reserves for the training she did. She was also able to make a very good sword with enough holy power to kill a middle-class devil. She was also able to manipulate the light magic into making some grenades. Rayner had for the most part been able to go toe-to-toe with Issei while he was at 10 boosts. She won a lot of the sparring matches they had. He was currently watching the TV in the living room. Everyone was resting since they were going to attack the well tomorrow night. He was brought out of his thoughts by Bahamut as started talk out of nowhere. Issei, Bahamut said, as clearly he needed to talk. Issei didn't know what he would want. He could only assume. Yes, Issei responded to the dragon. Said to the dragon and said, I think it is time I elaborate on your situation. A bit before you go back to the real world. Bahamut spoke suddenly. What do you mean, situation? What are you hiding? Dreg interrupted suddenly. He was clearly worried for his host. Calm down, Dreg. It is not bad at all. I hid it from you guys so you wouldn't worry, Bahamut spoke back. Worry about what? What's going on? Issei asked. I'm going to be blunt, Issei. You are going to become a dragon god, more powerful than you can imagine. You think the power you have now is amazing? Just wait till you get back to the land of the living, Bahamut joked. What do you mean? Issei asked, clearly confused. For you to understand, I will need to elaborate a little bit more. The tools or weapons you call sacred gears. It is a common belief that among the supernatural, that only the God of the Bible were able to seal one beings into a sacred gear. But the truth is that it's just a spell, and it can be used by any supernatural being with the capabilities required. Now, there are two ways to seal a being into a sacred gear. One is the way God did it. The way those sacred gears work is the way the sacred gear is given to its host. Binding, and in short, a binding is a temporary bond between the host and the soul trapped within the gear, allowing the host to temporarily tap into its power, henceforth the boosted gear. It requires you to get stronger to be able to use more power from it. The other way is the way I did it. It is merging. It is a quick way to do it. Not many beings use it this way since the effects. Merging gives the full ability, the full power of the being that was sealed firsthand to the host, effectively making him extremely powerful right off the bat. The reason most beings don't do this is due to the fact of its results. The main difference between binding and merging is that merging is permanent. Once the host dies, the being in their gear dies as well. Hence binding results in that being passed down onto its next host after the previous one dies, explained Bahamut. If it does work that way, why'd you do it? Asked Issei, confused. There are a few loopholes to it. If being a god, or if the being is a god or has godlike power, they can be sent to purgatory. Hence, I was there. Now that is, though, I will explain what I said about you being a dragon god. Bahamut said. What about it? Issei whispered. You have inherited all of my power. You are going to become a true dragon god. You have not noticed it yet, since you're in the land of the dead. Your real body is like a shell in the real world, without its soul. The moment you enter the well and go back there, the changes will start to occur as you develop into a dragon god. It won't happen as soon as you get back. Your body will adapt to the real world at first. Then, the changes will start to occur, Bahamut explained. What will happen? Issei asked, wondering. Since story. After a few days in the real world, you will start to notice your magical reserves will grow exponentially. Then your senses will evolve, becoming more powerful. Then for a few days, you will be in incredible amounts of pain as your body breaks itself apart and rebuilds it as a dragon over and over again. Then finally, you will be turned into a full dragon form before reverting back to human form and completing the process. Bahamut said, letting it sink in. So you're saying I'm going to undergo a transformation of some type, asked Issei? Precisely. Your body will evolve to handle the amount of power you have been given. There is also more. Your power will easily be recognizable, as many supernaturals can measure that amount of power some being has. Let me put it to you this way: you will both be feared and respected for your power, and there will always be gods and other supernaturals who will want to challenge you. That is the way it is, spoke Bahamut. He's telling the truth, especially dragons. They are beings of pride. Power attracts power. It is inevitable, Dreg commented. Bahamut, exactly how long will this whole process take? Asked Issei, not knowing how long it would be. I cannot say for sure, though the first part will pass in a few days. Then the final parts will be delayed a bit. Most likely the whole process will be a week or two, Bahamut responded. Okay, now a few questions. You said that our real bodies are in the real world, so when we go through that, we will need to regroup, asked Issei, trying to piece the plan together. Precisely. You will need to regroup once entering the well, responded Bahamut. Okay, then to rework the plan a bit before we head out, thought Issei, as he needed to talk to the group to let him know what he found out. Guys, soon everyone was awake and they started walking downstairs. This was perfect for Issei. He needed to let them know. Guys, come here. There's been a change in the plan. Nothing too serious. Just needed to go over some new stuff, Issei said to the group as they arrived downstairs. Okay, what is it? Dohnaseek responded. The moment we enter the well, we will need to regroup. So we will meet up at the abandoned church. Once you get there, do not make any sudden moves. We don't need the devils to know of our return. Second, I'm going to be going through a transformation while we're in the land of the living, explained Issei. What kind of transformation? Asked Raynare, worried. It seems Bahamut neglected to mention that he was giving me his power, and it will ultimately turn me into a dragon god. One with more power than I can imagine. He predicts the whole process will take about 2 weeks, explained Issei. What are the symptoms? Kalawarner asked, confused. He said at first my energy reserves will grow exponentially, allowing more powerful amounts of magic. Then my senses will evolve, and as I start to become a dragon, then my body will tear itself apart and rebuild it continuously, over and over. Then finally I will turn into a full dragon form before reverting back to my human form and completing the process, spoke Issei. Now everyone's eyes widened. He was going to be more powerful than they could imagine. They could only imagine the things that were going through his head. That's why we will be hidden for the first week or so as we wait for the process to complete. People will start to sense my energies as they grow. We will not be idle, though. Of course not. More like covert, trying to find out what the devils are up to, explained Issei. I think we need a better base than the church, though, Dohnaseek said. Agreed, it will only be temporary until we can secure a good place to start, Issei said. Okay. Then everyone get some rest for tomorrow, since we will strike at midnight, spoke Issei. Everyone nodded and went on about their day as they usually did. Scene break, midnight. The group found themselves on a ridge looking over the Well of Souls, preparing for their return. Issei could tell it was guarded well. He could see a few patrolling groups walk along the walls that guarded it. He could tell that they were in the right spot due to the blue light that rose up into the sky from the ground. Truly a wonder to behold, he thought. Okay, guys, you know the plan? Kalawarner, you distract them with a couple of those light grenades you can make off in the distance. Separate them. And then, Raynare, you strike fast, hard, and effectively, taking them out. Then we will regroup and head inside and push forward, taking out anyone along our path, Issei said. They all gave a nod and went to work. Kalawarner threw 3 light grenades off to the east side of the mountains, causing a lot of commotion among the guards, making them scatter like it was nothing. Kalawarner then nodded to Raynare, who formed 2 light daggers that radiated a lot of holy power, and they were sharp as hell. She dashed away quicker than even Issei could spot. He was impressed at the speed and reflexes she gained from her training. She quickly appeared behind several guards, slicing each of their throats, cutting out the jugular vein, causing them to gasp out for breath as they quickly died from blood loss. She disappeared once again after finishing the rest of the scattered guards. It was a massacre. It definitely looked like a beast had raged on the outside. No one was left. They regrouped and made their way towards the main entrance. They stopped right behind it. Alright, guys, this is it. No holding back in there. It's kill or be killed, spoke Issei. They all nodded and readied their weapons, signaling for Issei to kick the door open. As he did, but they were met with something they didn't even anticipate. Even Issei's eyes widened in shocks. A Cerberus was there along 3 squads of guards. Shit, just my luck. A fucking Cerberus, Issei thought. It cannot match you now, Issei. No need to worry, Drake commented. Issei, it is time for you to use some of my power. You need to make a mark on the world, so Hades realizes he can't come for you. Show them the power of annihilation, Bahamut shouted in pride. Okay then, Issei thought with a grin. Okay guys, you take care of the guards. I'll take care of that Cerberus, Issei said to his group. Got it, responded the 3 of them before going to work on the guards. Issei turned to the 3-headed guard dog and smiled. Well, Mutt, I hope you've said your goodbyes, 'cause you're going to die here tonight, shouted Issei. That's when a faint glow of gray mixed with red starting to cover his entire right arm. Armageddon's descent, shouted Issei as he summoned his second sacred gear. He saw Cerberus rear its head back as if it was going to charge him. Issei smirked at this. So how do I use this, Bahamut? Issei asked, confused as he stared at his arm. The first ability should be easy enough to use. Sphere of Annihilation. To use it, concentrate the energy around you and compress it into a sphere. Then throw it at the dog to kill it, Bahamut instructed. Sorry for the pauses. My throat is very dry and I'm drinking water. Issei closed his eyes and concentrated hard. Issei closed his eyes and concentrated hard on his palm. He felt the tremendous pressure building on it. Everyone else could feel it too, based on the looks of fear on the guards and the awe within his group. He opened his eyes to see a sphere of pure energy about the size of a softball in his hand. It looks similar to Cerzak's ruin, the extinct, but it was mixed with gray and red, with pure black lightning crackling off of it, and its power far outclassed the power of Surzak's ruin, the extinct. Even Issei could feel its volatile power. That is it. Pure energy formed into a destructive ball, extremely powerful, easily enough to annihilate that mutt. Bahamut spoke impressed. So that is the power of a dragon god. I've heard stories of the insane power they hold in their hands. Truly a nightmare to be witnessed in first-hand, muttered Dreg, in awe and a bit of fear. Take this, you mutt, shouted Issei as he chucked it at Cerberus. The sphere flew as fast at the Cerberus. Didn't even get a chance at all. As soon as it hit the Cerberus, the sphere expanded by at least 10 feet, completely covering the Cerberus in the sphere of annihilation. Then there was roars of agony from inside the sphere as it started to crackle with even more lightning. Soon after a few minutes, it started to dissolve, leaving nothing left at all of the Cerberus, not even a single ash. It was completely annihilated. Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell was that, Issei? Shouted Dohnaseek. Bahamut called it the Spear of Annihilation. The Sphere of Annihilation. Fitting name, I guess, responded Issei after his own shock was gone. He looked around to find most of the guards were dead or unconscious, while some had ran for their lives after seeing Issei's new power. Well, I guess whatever that was, the next time, warn us before you use it. That power, Kalawarner spoke. Well, I guess that's the power of a dragon god, muttered Issei. Come on, guys. Issei saved us from fighting that dog, so don't worry, we'll be fine, Raynare spoke while grabbing Issei and embracing him. He had a Portia blush down as he felt her breast push up against him. Come on, guys. Let's get to why we're here, spoke Issei as he walked out of the door that was guarded by the Cerberus. With one fast motion, Issei kicked the door open, blowing its hinges completely. Everyone was in awe at what they saw. The Well of Souls was truly a wonder to behold. Swirling in it was a light blue color mixed with purple. They could see faint wisps of energy rise off the surface and go into the air. It was definitely something else. The power it gave off alone was astonishing. This is it, Issei spoke in complete awe. No doubt about it, Kalawarner agreed. Well, what are we waiting for? Dohnaseek groaned. Very well, let's go, Issei spoke as the group went down the stairs and stood before the well. Remember, regroup at the church and stay hidden, Issei spoke. They all gave him a nod as he all walked to the edge. They all gave a look to Issei as if they needed his approval. He nodded and all four jumped at once, returning to the world of the living once more. That is it for Chapter 4, The Well of Souls. That's going to be it for this episode of What If Issei was betrayed and it broke him. Betrayed to hell and back. I hope you guys did enjoy. I want you to enjoy. And if you did, as I said in the beginning, maybe a like or a subscription. If you don't like the content after you subscribe, you can always take the subscription back, as it is completely free to do so. As I said in the last, I was going to give some info about the Harem. We know Raynare and Kalawarner are going to be a part of the Harem, but obviously not Ria, Sona, Surifol, Grafia, Konako, Mitelt, or Ravel. We have some possibilities that I won't go into, and we have another one. Yeah, 6 females that will be part of the harem. But as always, I hope you guys did enjoy. Kaga voiceover, signing out for now. Goodbye.